Welcome to the Live Wide Open podcast. I'm your host, Randy B. Ramirez, also known as Wide Open Randy, and I'm here to lead you to become the best version of yourself. This show helps raise the bar for other motorsport enthusiasts, those who want more out of life, those who want to do more, those who want to be more, those who love the thrill, the joy, and the connection of what these high performance engines bring into our lives. Because holding it wide open is just what we do. Being a great fucking person is who we are, and living our lives to the fullest is the lifestyle that we choose. Today, we're going to be talking about how traveling, especially traveling to third world countries, completely humbles your perspective on life. Right? The funny thing about it is that, man, I've experienced this before many times, time and again. You see, my wife and I, we make it a point to every year to do one domestic trip and one international trip as a vacation every single year, right? And we've been doing this for several years now, and it's truly something that I hope will never stop. This year was like, man, how are we gonna make the international one? I don't know, but last minute we made it happen. I'm so fucking glad that we made that happen, right? And every time that we travel internationally, it really does remind us just how good we have it back home, right? Because the truth is that we take for granted all the daily routine things that to us are nothing but luxuries. And I mean it. We think that these are necessities because we grew up like this, but man, they're all fucking luxuries. Things like AC, things like paved roads, things like the fucking internet, man, things that are like readily available of like of just about how like anything that we may need at a touch of our hands. These phones, with Amazon Prime, all this shit just becomes readily available, right? And all the little things that we put no mind to, but that really make our lives easier. So my question to you today is, are you truly grateful for everything that you have? Let me just say that man, I get it. The norm these days is all about, especially where I'm from Miami, Florida. The norm these days is all about the hustle and the bustle to grind like a motherfucker, right? But does it really have to be like that? Does it really have to be all about that all the time? Right? Don't get me wrong. I want you to persevere. I want you to get ahead. I want you to fucking work hard. I want you to make more fucking money than you've ever made before. But what I don't want you to do is to lose sight of what's really important, right? To lose gratitude for the things that nowadays seem to be necessities, but in reality are nothing but luxuries. Like, take this as an example, man. Like, man, I've driven, I don't give a fuck, I always say it now, and I actually think that humbles me and that reminds me of where I've come from. And so I've driven several beater cars in my life, right? And in the day to day, you're driving these beater cars, it's easy to say, fuck, man, I fucking hate this old beater. Like, man, I can't wait to get rid of it. I can't wait to get something new. But all my beaters, I think the majority of them, pretty sure almost all of them, you know, they might be broken at some time to time, but end up fixing them. All my beaters have had cold AC, right? And so you know how much more you'd hate that car if that car didn't if it didn't have AC. I know because I've been through stages of driving those beaters, even newer cars. Even my truck hasn't had AC for some period of time, right? Like, man, and you could be driving a car of the year 2025. I know it's 24, but 2025. And if the AC didn't work on that car and you lived in a fucking hot area, you'd probably hate that shit, right? Especially in South Florida, where we live in the Midwest, where it's fucking hot. You'd fucking hated that shit, right? Like, I don't know if you've ever had to drive a car with no AC and you've been stuck in bumper to bumper traffic in the middle of summer. That fucking shit sucks. It sucks ass. You're there sweating. Wherever you get there all sweaty. Your back is all sweaty. Your ass is all sweaty. Your fucking balls are all sweaty. Like, and you're like, fuck, and you're in a bad mood, right? I guarantee you that all it takes is one time for you to go through that, especially you're going to work or going into an important meeting or somewhere that you gotta be, you wanna be fresh, you wanna smell good, all this shit. I guarantee all it takes is one time, and you'll be wishing that you were driving that old beater ass car with some cold AC again, right? You'd get in that old car, AC piping with a huge smile on your face, sitting in bumper to traffic, jamming out because you weren't sweating your ass off because you had the AC fucking going. It doesn't matter if you're an old beater, right? And all it took was the perspective shift of not having the AC. Well, going to a third world country for vacations, it really makes you feel the same way, the same gives you that same perspective shift, but on a whole nother level, right? You see, like my wife and I, we recently came back from traveling from Costa Rica. That's all good with the flowery shit, with the Costa Rican vibes, right? And what we spend over there 10 days, right? And what we did is we got to the airport, we rented a car. We've done this for several other vacations. We actually like to do this. It's like the explorer in us. And some of my family's like, man, I don't know, that's not the safest thing to do, but God was with us. We we picked, kind of do some research before and whatever. Some people might disagree with it, but like my friend the other day, he's like, oh, well, how do you do? You can't take your gun with you. And I was like, no, you can't. But gotta fucking just ride with it, right? And so what it did is we got to the airport, we rented a car, and we drove to 4 different cities throughout our time there. Throughout the 10 days, we hit 4 different cities. And now, like I said, this wasn't my first rodeo, so for sure, I told my wife, I was like, yo, make sure that we rent, a brand new SUV, and it needs to have 4x4 because in Costa Rica there's a lot of off-road, mountains you're going up, a lot of unpaved roads, and the third thing is that it was diesel, right? And I've learned that, especially going to third world countries, you want to get its diesel because it's the way to go because um, it's more common. It's easier, readily available. And not only that, but diesel lasts way longer when you're on the road. Like I think we only put gas in the 10 days and we're traveling from 4 cities. The SUV had a full tank. Then we filled up second time. And then it was halfway the third time because we were traveling and I wanted to have full tank, and then I topped it off. So I guess if you put 3 gas tanks, traveling for 4 different cities through the mountains, in and out. Like some days we were driving for 4 hours at a time, and it fucking lasted. Diesel's the way to go, right? And so when you're traveling from cities that you've never been before, especially when it's just you and your wife, you want to make sure that you kind of know where you're going, right? That good cell phone service is a fucking must. Like it really is, because all it takes is for the cell phone service to go out, for you to have no service, and then your GPS stops working while you're halfway from one city to the other, for you to really start stressing out. You're like, fuck, I don't know where to go. You're kind of scared to stop because you're in a third world country, or maybe it's dark and you don't know, and you're up on a mountain. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, thankfully, that really didn't happen to us on this trip, but it has happened before on other vacations, and it's fucking stressful as fuck. It's fucking gets scary, right? But you get through it to make sure that you have some good cell phone service. And so in Costa Rica, their model of life is all about pura vida, right? It's a way of living for them. And like, if you don't talk Spanish, well, pura vida, what it translates to is pure life. And what it means is that it's a way of life that represents relaxed attitude, relaxed, to have gratitude, and to really just have a positive outlook on life, right? They use it to greet you. They use it to when they want to say farewell. They use it to say how are you doing. They use it to express their gratitude towards you. Like, man, like for example, like instead of saying thank you over there, they all they say is they pura vida. Like when I would give tips to people, they're like, oh, pura vida, right? They even use it to express acceptance, uh, of a situation that even when it goes bad, and whether it's to burst off negative energy or to, like I was saying, accept what they cannot change, if they say pura vida, it's truly their way of life, right? It symbolizes the simple, cheerful outlook and lifestyle of what is often called the happiest country in the world. And we experience that. And I feel like it really is like that. Like, they don't even have a military in Costa Rica. That's wild, right? And I mean this in no offense to any Costa Ricans out there that might be listening or any Costa Ricans at all. Like when I say this, but Costa Rica is not, it's not the newest, or it's really not the nicest place out there. You know what I mean by when I say that is because I can compare it, coming from a city like Miami. In Miami, we have, obviously there are older parts, but almost everything in Miami is new construction. We have the hurricane code, so a lot of shit is new buildings, strong buildings, you know. Um, we have newer stuff, high tech stuff, and Costa Rica, older places, it seemed like it was a little run down. But to them, it's all about being grateful for everything they have. It's all about pura vida. Like, and let me tell you that the places that we visited, man, they were so full of life. Like the people were happy and always welcoming, always smiling. Pura vida. When you ask for, you ask for someone, like it's always a good vibe. Like, like we went to, from going to La Fortuna where the volcano is, we went to Monteverde, up high in the mountains where you're literally driving through the clouds, like down to Quepos by the ocean on the west coast where the beach is right next to the forest. Man, there is so much life everywhere, and the world's natural state has really been preserved. Like that was like the main difference that I saw from back from Miami. Like Miami, I feel like we're in the concrete jungle. Over there, it's legitimately the fucking jungle. Like man, we would go on so many hikes, did a lot of hikes, and saw moments of waterfall. We did for sure over 10 hikes. We saw over 10 waterfalls, and like I remember even on this one hike, we hiked up to the edge of a mountain, and we got to this lookout point, and it was really windy, so the clouds were rolling in, and I have it. Our drone shot actually was cool. And my wife was like, "Oh, stop! Bring it down! You're gonna lose it!" Because it was like struggling to keep up. There was so much wind, but the clouds were rolling in, and they were covering us. And when it cleared up, it was just like all rainforest. Like it looked like fucking Jurassic Park. Like badass, so fucking different from where we are. And it was just so amazing to see that world's natural preserve there. Like, man, we went through like so many different hanging bridges. Like we climbed up and down natural preserves. Like, man, we saw such a different vibe. So like it just brought me this sense of gratitude and this sense of like the different vibes that you get like in different places. It's how so amazing how it can change how fast from only traveling in a plane 3 hours from where we're at, right? We saw so many different animal species everywhere, like from wild birds to sloths to frogs and even monkeys, man. Like the life of animals there is abundant. Like cool fact, like did you know that Costa Rica has approximately 5% of the world's species there? Like I looked it up and it's true, which is around 500,000 different creatures. And that makes it one of the most biodiverse countries in the world, despite only making up 0.03% of the Earth's landmass. That's truly a wild statistic. Think about it. 5% of the world's species out there, over 500,000 different creatures, and it only takes up 0.03% of the Earth's landmass. It's truly a biodiverse fucking rainforest out there. Like the sun up is early there too, and I love that because I'm a morning person, right? So at 5 a.m. you already start hearing the birds. At 5:30 a.m. the sunrise was already, coming up. You already see the sun up. It was already at 5:30 a.m. It was already daylight. You know, I think the sunrise over there was like 5:32, 5:35 somewhere. It was just badass. I really enjoyed it, right? And at that time, you would hear so much wildlife everywhere, every single morning. It was so cool waking up to that. So many different sounds. Like I wish I could explain it better, but it's just something that you have to go out there for yourself and experience it, right? Like even in one of the Airbnbs that we stayed, I think this was like the last one. Um, yeah, it was the last one. It's called Casa Mono, and what it means for you who don't speak Spanish, it means monkey house, right? And so it was such a cool like and Keples was the one that I was telling you is the beach. It's on the west coast and it's right next to a fucking to a rainforest, and so um down by the beach, and then you climb up and you go up the mountain, you go up, and the SUV we rented had like off-road thing, so you would see in a lot of the slopes were 15 plus degrees going up on the car. It was fucking badass. Unpaved roads, you feel like you were off-roading. It was so cool. So by the time we got up to the Airbnb, like so it faces like the entrance of the Airbnb faces the national forest, right? And in that zone, it's super famous for monkeys. And then one afternoon, I was sleeping, I wasn't there, and I saw the video. By the time she came to call me, the monkey had already left. But so my wife was outside hanging out on the porch, and she was just listening at the wildlife, looking at the birds, just looking at everything. And all of a sudden, she told me that she locks eyes with a monkey like far away. She's like, "Oh my God, it's a monkey!" And the monkey kind of locked eyes with her, and it starts coming to her, starts coming to her. Before she knew it, the monkey was walking up on the railing, coming up to her. She has a little short clip of the video, right? The things that she got so excited with the experience that as the monkey approached her, like, man, she just stopped recording and she truly enjoyed the moment. Like, you can't even get mad. In fact, I was actually so proud of her that she did that because she was really present at that moment. She was there enjoying it, like, and it made it happen on purpose or not or whatever. But you know what? She was there, and I was so happy for her when she showed me the video. I was like, whoa, that's fucking badass, you know. And that brings me back to the gratitude part, to what we're talking about today, right? And since that Airbnb, it borderlined the forest, like in a high mountain, not the highest mountain there, because you could see out, you see the rainforest out in the and like out in the view, and super dope. And then you see way higher mountains going into the clouds. That's what the previous Monteverde were before, because we traveled, like I said, 4 different cities. But because the Airbnb where it was, near in the rainforest, high in the mountain area right there, the reception wasn't the best. And the place's Wi-Fi keep going down, right? And I was getting upset because it kept going down. But then I was like, yo, what the fuck? I was like, man, I was there, I realized like how much we rely on our Wi-Fi, on the internet, on the fucking things that are like, it shouldn't really stress me out. We're on fucking vacation, right? And so instead of, I was beginning to stress me, I was like, fuck, where? And I was like, you know what, fuck it, don't stress me out. Like, fuck this, I'm gonna give it up. Like, you know, this is happening for a reason. Right? So I did my best to enjoy the moments there and just to be as present as possible. And I'm glad that it kind of worked out that way. On another occasion, when we were traveling from city to city, actually, we were traveling from Monteverde to Quepos, like, man, we got caught up in this horrendous thunderstorm. Like, bro, fucking, no wonder they call it the rainforest. Like, man, it's one of the worst fucking like rain fall downs. Like, it was so much water coming out. Like, the volume of water coming down was so intense. Like, I was literally driving at 25 miles per hour because the rainfall was so heavy. Like, you couldn't see shit. The wipers were on full blast, and you're like, you couldn't see. And I was like, holy shit! Like, and like, you know, you're driving on mountains sometimes. So I was like, you gotta drive slow because you gotta make sure you want to stay on the road. And the cars up ahead, you could barely see them. And it seemed like a sketchy ass drive because it was, right? Until I saw motorcycles riding in those conditions. And I was like, holy shit, there goes one. And then I was like, oh fuck, there goes another one. And then there goes another one. And there goes another one. Shit was downpouring so bad that I don't know how they were fucking managing it. True fucking riders, I tell you, man. Like, when I talked to one of the locals later on after the thunderstorm had passed, when I got over there, like, they were like, oh, it's just another day out here, baby. It's another day in paradise. Pura vida. So from driving through the really poor towns and seeing some of the home shacks that people lived in, seeing some of the conditions that they were still happy, they're still vibing, they were still enjoying life, like to being high up in the mountains in really small towns with limited supplies, knowing that, you know, it's you're high up and it takes over an hour to get up there and climbing, and so you have limited things that you have, right? To really being deep in the jungle and only having the things that we had on us. Like, what I've learned from this trip and many others that I've done visiting third world countries is to just be grateful for everything that you have. Like, to enjoy life and really know that it can always be worse. So live it to the fullest. The things that we take for granted here in the States every day are nothing but a bunch of luxuries. So don't get in your feelings when they don't work, or don't forget to be grateful for them, no matter how small you are. Like, ground yourself and give thanks to the Lord for this amazing life that He has blessed us with. Pura vida. Enjoy it, live it, embrace it. We only get one life as we know it. Yo, I'm driving the checkered flag deep into the ground and I'm calling all the motorsport enthusiasts who want to improve their situation. Let's break free from all the shit that's been holding us back, and let's become the badass motherfuckers that we're all meant to be. Breaking the stereotype is exactly what we're here to do. This movement is called Live Your Life Wide Open, and helping others level up is the mission that God has tasked us with. Join me on this journey where we empower our people to do more and to be more. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and smash that button so you never miss another episode. And if you're connected with today's message, if you like to travel, if you have future plans, if you're big on gratitude, man, go ahead and please share this on your story and tag me at Wide Open Randy, because those are the actions that get more gearheads, more people like us to really hear and see this message. And ultimately, that's how our community grows and expands. I'll catch up with you on the next episode. But till then, live your life wide open, my friend. Peace.